Let's talk about the zero product property. This property is extremely important in algebra. What it says is if you have a product, let's just say A times B, and that product is 0, then one of those two things has to be 0 in order for your solution to be 0. So for example, maybe A equals 0. Then I would have 0 times B equals 0. And I really don't care what B is because I'm multiplying by 0. So when I multiply by 0, everything's going to zero out and I will get 0, just like I wanted. Or you could say that B is going to equal 0. And then it kind of works the same way, but with A times 0 equaling 0. And then I really don't care what A is because when I multiply by 0, the product is going to be 0, just like I wanted. So if you have a product that is 0, one or maybe both of those factors can be 0 as your solution. So my two solutions here would be A is 0 or B is 0. Now we're going to use that and apply it to this equation to solve. So here I've got a product. I've got A and B. A and B just happen to have a little bit more going on, and I multiply to get 0. So that tells me that the first factor could be 0, or the second factor could be 0. As long as at least one of them is 0, when we multiply, everything's going to zero out. So I can use that to say that either of these factors could equal 0, and then everything will multiply to 0. So I set up my two equations. My first option is 3x minus 2 could equal 0, or the 2x plus 1 could equal 0. Now I solve each of these to get both of my solutions. So my two solutions are going to be positive 2/3 and negative 1/2. Now let me show you what happens when we plug each of these in. When you're substituting an x value back into your equation, you need to make sure that you pick one value and then plug that value in for all of the x's. So the first one I'm going to check is this positive 2/3. So I plug that in for all of the x's in my equation. And then I just go through and I simplify. Notice that I didn't simplify that second factor because I really don't care what that second factor is. All I care about is that that first one gives me 0. And then no matter what the second one is, when I multiply by 0, I'm going to get 0. So this one checks out. Now, if you're uncomfortable with that, let me go ahead and add in that second factor. I'll get 7/3. And then what's 0 times 7/3? It's still 0. So either way, whether I simplify that second factor or not, 0 times that factor is going to give me 0. Now let me go check our second solution. And again, I'm going to plug it in for all of the x's in the entire equation. And again, I really don't care what that first factor is because now my second factor is 0, and when I multiply by 0, the product will be 0. So this one checks out as well. If you don't like that, I'll go ahead and subtract in my first factor. And I get negative 7/2 times 0, which is still 0 because when I multiply by 0, I get 0. So this one still checks out. So using that 0 factor property, my two solutions are positive 2/3 and negative 1/2. And that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.